Hello and wow, it is great to be back previewing another week from the Premier League. After a long, arduous, and however quite interesting international break where we saw the last couple of countries qualify for the 2014 World Cup, we've always wanted to see, well, I know for certain I've wanted Premier League action, and this week is another fantastic week, 10 great games which will promise loads of action, loads of goals. So let's kick things off with the biggest fixture of the week actually, occurring at Merseyside at Goodison Park, Everton taking on Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. This game will be a cracking game. It will be played at an intense tempo. Both teams will be geared up and ready, not only to please the fans and score lots of goals, but to fight for their club and the badge which they obviously wear with pride. I can see maybe a couple of red cards happening in this fixture. This fixture at times in the past, history tells us that really there's a lot of cards shown, a lot of goals scored, and really a lot of controversy which shrouds both fixtures of the Merseyside derby. However, Everton being at home, they play a lot better when they're at home. They've got the ever-present Lukaku up front, and it'll be kind of how can they counter or hit Liverpool or on the counter-attack when Liverpool want to play that, possessive and kind of dominant game that Brendan Rodgers has developed under them. I see this game being intensely even, and I think both fans will go home relatively happy. And as I say that's why I'm predicting that the final score will be Everton 2, Liverpool 2. As I said, there'll be a lot of goals, so stay tuned for that. That's one of the games you will definitely want to watch. We'll go to North London now at the Emirates Stadium, where first place Arsenal will take on the high-flying Southampton. Now, I say high-flying, and I mean that with all respect, because Southampton have been absolutely tearing to shreds the Barclays Premier League. They've been winning games, homes and away, and they've just been scoring goals, keeping clean sheets, and really doing what a club that wants to achieve top four should be doing. However, that being said, players like Adam Lallana, Ricky Lambert, they've obviously had been called up for the England national squad since their performances for Southampton have been duly worth the call-up. So they got called up by Roy Hodgson, and I think that, playing midweek, them playing back on the weekend for your club could take a little bit out of the Saints players or the English players for Southampton, and I think that they may feel a bit jaded. And Arsenal, most of their players are international players as well, so they're kind of maybe more used to it than the Southampton English players will be, and therefore also being at home at the Emirates, I'm just going to say that Arsenal can run out the winners here 2-1 and retain their top spot on the Premier League table. We'll go to Craven Cottage now, we're staying in London, where Fulham will take on Swansea City. And really, Fulham and Martin Jol's position is under massive, massive pressure. If Martin Jol doesn't get a win or doesn't show some good, positive play, tempo, and really just the lack of atmosphere at Fulham Football Club right now is actually quite despairing, and it's really hard to watch because I like Fulham. In saying that, I think that their misery will continue. Swansea will go to Fulham, and I believe they will just, not really cause Fulham too many problems, but the chances that Swansea do create, I think they will be able to finish, which is something that they have been lacking in the past couple of weeks, and I think they can run out 1-0 winners, and really, I think maybe Martin Jol will be the second manager, after Di Canio, we see get sacked, because I just think his standards and Fulham's standards have significantly dropped over the past couple of seasons, and they'll be in the relegation battle, don't you worry about that. Hull City will take on Crystal Palace now, and again, Crystal Palace kind of in the similar boat as Fulham. I don't see them again going to Hull and causing Hull City any problems. Steve Bruce's men are well organised defensively, and at home they play a lot better and really can probably play with some of the better teams in the Barclays Premier League. Crystal Palace not being one of those teams, no disrespect to them, but all over the field defensively they're not sound. They don't know when to press, when to drop off, who's man marking who. Arguably their main leader, Mile Jedinak, as I've mentioned before, has had a bit of a topsy-turvy time for not only Crystal Palace, but for the Australian national team as well. And up front, they don't have a goal scorer, a guy that, can maybe score them enough goals to keep them out of the relegation zone. So, in saying that, I think Palace will go to Hull, and they'll lose, and Hull City will run out the victors here 2-0. Moving on to St James's Park, where Newcastle will take on Norwich City, and this game really could have a fair few consequences for either team. Both teams are really trying to stay in that mid-table position, and I think that, again, both teams are really evenly placed on the table, and near the table, should I say, and the game will reflect that. I think that Newcastle at home are really good, and however, their style of play that Pardew has set them under, I think it was more beneficial to when they play away at bigger teams, such as your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, where they picked up victories as they hit them on the counter-attack. The pace of Remy, Gouffron, Moussa Sissoko driving through the midfield, that's what that team's geared up to do. At home, however, I think that they may be lacking in creating their own play. I think a lot of the pressure and the reliance goes to Johan Cabaye, and it's really easy for teams to kind of shut him down. In saying that, Norwich will go there kind of confident that 2 weeks ago they did pick up a victory at home, and I think that confidence can shine through, and I just think that this game will be a 1-1 draw. Both teams will have a couple of chances, and it'll be a fairly even contest. Talking about even contests, let's go over to the Britannia, where Stoke City play Sunderland. And I don't know, but my mind always, as soon as I see this fixture, my mind always just thinks 0-0 draw. Just automatically, a 0-0 draw is what it's going to be. And yeah, I've tipped a 0-0 draw again for this fixture here. Sunderland, again, not doing great, near the bottom of the table, and their teams are a bit all over the shot, really. Stoke at home under Mark Hughes, trying to play a new philosophy. They've got a couple of good players who I really like. Marko Arnautovic is a name that I think you guys should all really focus to, because he's a fantastic player, not only for Stoke, but for the Barclays Premier League. I just think that both teams really won't have that many chances. It will kind of be a shutout. They'll just basically play defense, and really it'll be quite I wouldn't say a boring game, but a lethargic game for basically 85 minutes until one team decides, with 5 minutes to go, we better do something. I don't see no one scoring, and that's why I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. Back into London, where there is a London derby occurring. It is West Ham taking on Chelsea. And really, the Hammers are doing okay this season. At times they're convincing, at times they're not. Still, haven't got Andy Carroll back, which I think is a massive hole in their attack. It just leaves their attack kind of bewildered, and I think it had unsettled them. They seem to have resolved it with playing Ravel Morrison and Kevin Nolan up there, and really a false nine sort of setup. But against a team like Chelsea, who Jose Mourinho has obviously will have wanted to work on their defensive side of the game, and then they'll obviously counterattack with pace, with direct speed, and they've got quality players all over the pitch. So I don't think the way Sam Allardyce will set up his West Ham side will be able to cope with Chelsea's speed and counter-attacking ability, and therefore I believe that Chelsea will win 2-0. The third last game, taking place in Manchester at the Etihad Stadium, is where Manchester City will be facing Tottenham Hotspur. Now, the scoreline that I have predicted that this game will end as may come as quite a shock to you, but I'm predicting that City will win over Tottenham 3-0. Now, I've watched Tottenham kind of against my will over the past couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, and I really haven't been impressed. Now, this is taking my Arsenal bias completely out of this, right? And I just haven't been impressed by their players, their star signings that were supposed to really make this team not only top four worthy but challenge for the title. Soldado doesn't do enough for me. I don't think he's properly Premier League conditioned. He's not the striker that really would be suited to a Premier League squad. And other players such as Dembele really haven't kicked on as I thought he would, and it just shows that Tottenham haven't yet gelled, and for the simple fact that Manchester City, their players are absolutely going crazy in form for not only Manchester City, but for their respective international clubs. I think that form will carry over, and City will just run rampant over Spurs and win 3-0. The second last game will take place in Wales, where Cardiff will face Manchester United. This game could be an intriguing game. I think that Cardiff, again, I always say Malky Mackay really has the team defensively set up and sound, and he does like to play a counter-attacking style of football, as do a fair few managers in the Premier League. But I think that since Cardiff are one of the newly promoted teams, the style can work. Like it can be effective at times. However, you don't want to be sitting. You don't want to be getting pushed further and further back in matches against, like, Manchester United, even though you are at home, because Cardiff City just want to hit the opposition on the counter-attack. They can't be pushed further and further back into their own final third. And I think that Manchester United kind of have got over their teething troubles under David Moyes, and I think that really their win over Arsenal 2 weeks ago maybe could be some kind of stimulant to progress them further up into the table and really get them picking up 3 points week in, week out. And I think that they'll do the same thing in this match here, and I see them running out winners 2-0. The final match, which will take place on Monday night in England, or if you're in Australia like me, it'll take place Tuesday morning, is West Bromwich Albion taking on Aston Villa at the Hawthorns. I can't see any way that Aston Villa will go to the Hawthorns and beat Bromwich. There's just no way. Apart from the obvious threat of Benteke, who you guys are probably sick and tired of me raving and ranting on about him. I don't see any other place where Aston Villa can get their goals from, and that is a concern. I think Paul Lambert may need to go out in the transfer market and buy another striker, kind of a backup to Benteke, but a guy that can come on and give you goals. Bromwich Albion, Steve Clarke has got his boys playing quite well. Defensively, they're sound. They're a good defensive team. However, I think that they do need to have a bit more going forward, and I think those are why they did acquire Stefan Sessegnon and Victor Enichibi on deadline day, and I think those players have helped stimulate and create a lot more and take the pressure off players like Brunt and Malumbu from really doing that heavy work in midfield. So I see that West Bromwich Albion will run out the victors here 2-1. So those are my predictions for the 12th week. I know 12 weeks goes extremely fast, doesn't it? Those are my predictions, and again, I'll say this: I hope I've predicted that your team will win. Also, stay tuned in the next couple of days, as I'll be doing a review video of this week. And just a quick note: I'm not sure. I'm debating this inside my head, and I have been over the past couple of weeks, but comment in this video down below in the comments section whether or not you would like me to have a face cam for the rest of my videos, basically for the rest of the season. Do you want me to use a face cam to make these videos? If so, comment down below saying what you like and what you would like to make the videos more interesting and basically more enjoyable. So thank you very much. As I said, comment down below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks and goodbye.